Let's talk about how I actually use this rig. Now, this is going to be a little boring because I'm not going to play anything through it. You'll just have to use your imagination. But let me power it on and show you what we've got here. So the signal chain is pretty straightforward. We come in from the wireless or from the interface box over here. So this is a PBA4 insert junction. And the way that I'm using it is the wireless goes to the input, and then the output goes to the first pedal in line, which in my case is the diamond compressor. And then the return here acts like an insert. So if I'm using the wireless, everything works fine. But if something happens, the wireless fails, I grab one of my Revelation cables and plug it in over here to the red jack. And now I'm plugged directly in to the first pedal, and it bypasses the wireless. So I can keep a cable over here as just in case. And if I ever need it, I've got it. Okay, so Diamond Bass Comp. This one is in Blue Sparkle. We redid that here. If you've got a Diamond Bass Comp or Comp Junior, we have files for drilling the enclosure, so we can custom make those. Diamond, if you're listening, we'll be happy to do some runs of boxes for you. Then out of the Diamond Bass Comp, we come into my HX effects, and there's two loops in the HX effects. One of them has these two Neo series pedals in it, Defender and Syntax Error, and the other loop has the C4 synth in it. So there's a bunch of different ways that you could potentially use this, but the way I use it is basically like this. Here, let's see. I think the easiest thing to do is to just show you the signal flow. So basically over here, in most of my presets, I have a very similar signal flow. I have a volume pedal, and then I have an EQ, a low, high cut, and a boost comp, effects loop 1 and 2, some kind of a drive, a reverb usually, or a delay, a pitch shifter in all my patches, and a noise gate on the out. Now, in most of these presets, I'm not using all of that. Most presets, I'm just using the noise gate. So this clean slate, for example, is just the noise gate. There's nothing else on. The bass comp is doing all the work. I'm going through the HX effects. No IRs. Of course, the HX effects has no cabs or amps. So we just go in and out, and that's it. When we get to Dirt Nap, you can see my Defender turns on, selects a preset, and that's on. Everybody else is off. D standard is a different drive preset, and then I have the pitch shifter set to drop me a whole step so I can play songs in D standard without retuning. So similarly, everything else. I've got a bunch of patches here where I'm actually using the C4 over here. You can watch the light change on that. So I have different synth patches, and in some cases I'm using an extra pitch shift to get me an octave down, something like that. It just kind of depends on the preset. But the kind of the magic in this whole rig is my DMC.micro, which is down here in the corner. Now, if you guys can see that, from right to left I have power, and then I have a 1/4-inch cable, I have MIDI, and I have USB. So the power goes to the power supply. The MIDI is one of our MIDI Y cables, and it actually goes over here to the HX effects. So the HX effects is sending out, and the DMC.micro is receiving in. The other leg of that Y cable is just tied up underneath. The 1/4-inch cable goes over here, and it's actually split. It's a Y cable, and it's split to the MIDI on the Defender and the Syntax Error. And then the USB, which is this one, goes to one of our Ghost adapters, which is just a little passive dongle that adapts it from male to male, and then it goes to the C4. And on the C4, one thing that if you're playing with these live, especially if you have them on the edge of your board, go on Amazon and get yourself a right angle. In this case, it's actually a left angle, a right angle USB connector. They cost about $10, but the amount of hassle it saves by not having the thing poking out, sticking out straight, excuse me, you would not believe how much hassle that saves, how easy it is to break those connectors off. If they take any kind of a hit going into or out of your bag, it can break one wire in that connector and then the whole thing doesn't work. Okay, so if you're familiar with the HX Effects or the Stomp or any of the Helix products, you have this command center, and the command center lets you send MIDI messages for each of your devices. You can use these instants or you can assign buttons. I actually have a bunch of instants assigned here, but I'm not using them because I found that with 6 instants, that's enough to do syntax error, program and bypass, Defender program and bypass, C4 synth program and bypass. But anytime I wanted to change anything, I had to dive into the menu and flip a bunch of buttons, and it got a little problematic. It got difficult, and I couldn't do any of it on the fly. I had to bend over and turn the knobs. There's no way to do any of this by foot while you're playing or rehearsing. And so what I did instead is I turned all that off, and then I set the MIDI bass channel of the HX Effects to something out of the range. So the C4 synth is set to MIDI channel 1, the Defender and syntax error set to 2 and 3 respectively. And so what I've done here is I'm using the DMC.micro as a preset expander. So when I go here, A, B, C, I have this P mode. So you can see I'm on P04. Anytime I select a bank on the HX Effects, so I press this and we watch the DMC.micro, P00, P01, etc. So it selects the presets in order, and then all I have to do to change a preset is go on the DMC.micro. Let me angle the phone here so you can see the display. But I hold the button, and now I'm controlling the A device. So I can go on the A device, which is my C4 synth, and I can press this. And when I press it, you can see that little green light is lighting up. And if I want to turn it on, I can just hold the left button. And so now it's on. So now we're scrolling on. So I can pick one of the preset sounds I have. For example, if you have some cool sounds from, say, Nathan Navarro or any of the folks that contribute good stuff to the C4 online, to the Neuro app, you can load them all in there, and then you can get access to them as opposed to just having the 6 presets on the switch. So I can select a preset here, and I can turn it on or turn it off as needed. And I can go to the Defender, and I can change, sorry, syntax error, and I can change its presets. So I can turn it on, etc. And then the same thing with the Defender. I can change its presets, turn it on or off. And then when I get the sound I want, I can go back here. I can hold down the save button. No, I'm not going to do it because I like the setting that I had saved in there before. But if I just hold down the save button, it'll save those new settings to the current location. And then when I go back to 1C, chorus tone, it'll call it PO2, and all my pedals will have changed to their correct settings. So in that way, I'm using the DMC.micro as a preset expander. So 1 preset on this expands to 3 on these other devices. Now, can you do it without the DMC.micro? Yes, but you need some hardware. You would need to have at least a ghost converter and a MIDI box, probably. MIDI box 4 would do it, or MIDI box 1 actually would do it. Now we make the MIDI box 1. I think when I put this board together, we didn't have the 1. We only had the previous version, what I'd call the 2. With 4 ports, and it was a little overkill for this. But the DMC.micro is just right for this setup because it has MIDI in here on the MIDI port here, and it has 2 quarter-inch outs, the tip and the ring, using the Y cable, and then it has the USB host functionality, which lets me control USB-only devices like the C4. So for my rig, the DMC.micro is more practical than having everything stashed under the board and then having the control center do the job. If you're more into the control center thing, that's cool. We've got you there too. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit thumbs up. I know this is lower quality and shakier and less focused than our normal videos, but it covers a lot of ground, and I think it'll be useful to some people. So thanks for watching. See you later.